Live pictures at the hour from Cairo, Egypt, where protesters are screaming at the top of their lungs for their president to get out. At the moment, that isn't happening. President Hosni Mubarak spoke about 2 hours ago. He says he is transferring some of his power to his vice president. There were rumors that he may be fleeing the country, but he says that's not true. Mubarak announced that he's lifting the hated emergency laws when security permitted. He's also vowing to punish those behind the violence.
We have team coverage tonight breaking down this story. President Obama was in Michigan today. He spoke about Egypt. Rick Elbin has that. We're going to start with Steve Kelso, who spent the afternoon with an Egyptian native living here in West Michigan who says the time for the revolution has come. Steve?
Yeah, that's right, Susie. Dr. Ali Metwalli was a young college student when he moved to the United States in 1963, and he has a great deal of faith in this younger generation that he says has led his native country to this point. I watched the situation unfold this afternoon in Dr. Metwalli's Cascade home. He was watching 3 channels, Al Jazeera, the BBC, and CNN, on 2 TVs in 2 different rooms, and he'd stop in between to check out the internet. He says that this is the young people's revolution. It's something his generation had always dreamed of accomplishing, but now using Facebook, Twitter, and cell phones, he says this generation has tools at its disposal that his could never have imagined.
Because I basically dreamed this dream in the 60s when I was in college. I spoke against the military regime, but my way to safety was out, because we didn't have that network of connections that these young people today had.
Now, Dr. Metwalli says he believes that it's time for democracy not only in Egypt but throughout the Middle East. And he knows it's going to be a long, hard struggle, but he says armed with this new technology, he believes this younger generation can accomplish it faster than his. Live in the newsroom, Steve Kelso, 24-hour News 8.
Official U.S. reaction to developments has been cautious today. President Obama spoke briefly of the situation earlier today, this while making a stop at Northern Michigan University in Marquette. 24-hour News 8's political reporter Rick Albin is here with more on that. Rick?
The president's main message was about getting wireless internet to far-flung places in the United States like the UP, but he couldn't escape what was unfolding a half a world away. The president did talk about what was going on in Egypt, but when he was speaking, he really didn't know what was going to happen next because there were a lot of conflicting stories coming out of Egypt. But Mr. Obama said whatever happened, it was clear from his perspective that it was being driven by the people.
We are following today's events in Egypt very closely, and we'll have more to say as this plays out. But what is absolutely clear is that we are witnessing history unfold. It's a moment of transformation that's taking place because the people of Egypt are calling for change. And they've turned out in extraordinary numbers, representing all ages and all walks of life. But it's young people who've been at the forefront.
Now, President Obama, like so many in Washington, knows just exactly how strategic Egypt can be. It's also a volatile part of the world, and who controls Egypt has more than a passing interest for lawmakers in Washington, and we're going to see how this all plays out and the impact that it will have. And that's just one of the big issues that lawmakers in Washington are taking a look at. They've got a lot on their plates. Jobs, some want to repeal health care, others want to talk about Social Security. There are any number of issues that lawmakers promised to tackle, like cutting government spending during the election cycle. Well, now they've been elected. So what are they doing? Beginning next week, we're going to go to Washington and find out. We're going to take your questions to Michigan's congressional delegation. It's all part of our continuing commitment to bring you coverage of these politicians well after the ballots have been cast and the polling places are closed. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to michigan.onpolitics, that's IX, and you can post questions there. I'm going to choose from some of those questions. We're going to go to Washington next week, and then beginning Monday on 24-hour News 8 and at woodtv.com, we're going to start live reports. We'll take your questions to the lawmakers, and we'll also have 2 to-the-point programs from Washington. It's Michigan's Future inside Washington, beginning Monday, right here on 24-hour News 8. At the live desk, I'm Rick Albin. Back to you.